Hello guys, welcome back to a new vid on my channel, and today it's time for another episode of how to make custom Super Mario Galaxy 2 levels without the custom. Jesus, voice correct right from the start, great. But yeah, today it's time to work on models again, or to teach you something about models. Well, teach you, not really, just, you know, give you an idea on how you should do it. Yeah, today we're going to talk about collision, and you might remember this little model over here, which we made in the 5th episode, actually the last episode. Today we're going to make collision for this planet. And yeah, the first thing you should do is, well, save the file as a separate file. So I always call my collision files the planet and then call at the end, and yeah, just save it. And in case you mess up, you then always have the original model to, well, as a backup. And before you start working on a collision, you have to think about, is the planet small or is it really big? If it's really small, then the collision doesn't have to be that precise. I mean, for like a smoothed out cube, that is only going to be like, I don't know, 500 radius on every axis, then it doesn't need to be really precise or anything. Maybe max like 500, 400 tries for collision. And for planets like this planet is pretty small, dimension of 1200, which is actually pretty small if you compare it to Mario and all enemies and all of that. So the collision for this planet doesn't have to be really precise. Now, if the planet is really big, you definitely want it to be precise, because you don't want Mario to stick through the ground, or I don't know, just float in the air at certain spots on the planet. So yeah, we're gonna start with the base, so with the grass and the soil, and that's actually really easy to do. For this, we're just gonna add a another circle, and if I remember correctly, it was at a radius of 600, which is perfect. And we're just gonna do pretty much the same thing, but I'm gonna change the vertices from 32 to maybe 24. I guess that works pretty good. And then we're just gonna do the same thing we did before, extrude it down, minus 150, which is actually quite not much at all. Minus 150, because Mario's height is, I guess, 150 or 200. So yeah, this planet is basically Mario's height. But yeah, we're just gonna fill the top and the bottom out, and we're just gonna select these edges, these rings of edges, rows of edges, I don't know how you want to call them. Okay, then we're gonna press Ctrl B, which is bevel if you remember correctly. And actually, if you remember correctly, again, I have said a lot of remember correctly in this episode so far. We actually did 75, and then we had 3 segments like this, and that lines up perfectly. But because this is a really small planet, it doesn't have to be as precise as the main model. We're probably gonna go with 70, and then segments at 2. Segments is 1. Look, the main planet is overlapping, which is not really what we want. Maybe I'll change to 65. That is pretty much perfect. It does overlap in some spots, but you won't really notice it in game. And yeah, I guess that is pretty much perfect for the base, so we can delete the grass and the sand parts. And we're gonna separate the grass with the sand. So we're gonna select the bottom half in face select mode, press P, and then this is gonna be the sand, and then this is gonna be grass. And now you want to delete out everything you have, so go to the top here and then Blender file, and then you want to delete all images like this, delete all the materials, delete all the textures, and delete all the meshes that well, that you don't have in your file anymore. But if you select the grass here, you go to the material, press new, and then you just do that. You know, make new materials and the correct names and all that. Now, the reason why I'm not like selecting this middle row of edges and separating them in anything, it's because this fence is in the way of it. Well, the fence is, yeah, you probably know why, so I'm not gonna bother with it. And yeah, I'm just gonna delete out this because we don't really need it. Actually, I'm gonna use for measurement's sake, and I'm gonna add another circle with a radius of 600, 24 vertices again. This time I'm gonna move it down by actually 75, because if you move it down by -75, it's actually going up, but whatever. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna line it up with the fence here, so it's 13, that's fine, or actually let's make it 14, and then easy, and then Jesus, -28, and then we're gonna go and press Alt S, which is a new shortcut, and that's basically fatten or scale it without scaling it on every axis. You can also do S and then Shift Z, that pretty much does the same thing for this model. I'm gonna type in 1.15, and we're gonna press E, S, and then, well, it doesn't really matter, 0.85, fix the normals, Control N, and then we can delete out this inner thing, and then we're pretty much done. It's that easy. But while we're done with the collision map, we still have to make the collision file, because if we just leave it like this, nothing's gonna happen, because we haven't made a KCL file, as it's called. Also, before you export it or anything, make sure every single face or every single thing of your collision map is triangulated. I have learned that from Super Hakio. Thank you, Super Hakio, for watching this. But the reason why you should triangulate it is because the game doesn't support, well, the collision of the game only supports triangles. It doesn't support any faces that are made up of 4 vertices. So you have to triangulate this and make sure the faces at the top here, where you can probably see or not see my cursor, faces at the top here is at 428, and the tries is also at 428, which is exactly the way we want it. Now, 428 tries for this model is perfect. It doesn't need to be any more. And yeah, now we're gonna export it as a OBJ file, wavefront OBJ, and I'm just gonna save it in Tools and in Collision Creator. I'll put a download link to the Collision Creator tool in the description. It's probably just gonna be a direct download link, because I don't know if there's any download link to any page or anything for it. But yeah, let's get to the tool and I'll show you how you can actually make a collision file out of it. Alright, and here we are in a folder, and we're just gonna go open up collisioncreator.exe. exe, that sounds very smooth. File, open, and then make sure you open the OBJ, which is actually the only thing you can select, so open that. And well, as you can see, there's one material called none, and if you go back here, you can see that there is one object that is called, well, that doesn't have any collisions. So I don't know if it really matters, but for the sake of making sure everything is all right, I'm just gonna, you know, add a material for it. Jesus, what is happening with my voice? Oh my god. But yeah, make sure you have well, you have made it so that every object in your Blender file has a material. So now you can see wood, sand, grass, and we're gonna assign sounds to it, because if you just press save now, it doesn't have any sound, or well, it doesn't have any sound, but it has the sound of soil. because the null sound code is actually soil by default. So for wood, you want to select one of the wood things. When I selected wood thick for one model, I actually just heard only soil, which is really weird because I selected wood thick. So I'm gonna select wood thin for this one. For the sand, I'm not actually gonna select beach because, I mean, if you've seen the model, let me just open it. This, oh, not open Audacity, oh my god. That has happened to me a lot, but whatever. This kind of sand is not actually, you know, supposed to have a sound of real sand. I mean, it's kind of like soil-ish sand, so we're gonna select soil instead. Also, if you type in sand here, you notice that there's not any sand, and that's because it's actually beach. I don't know why it is beach, but I mean, Nintendo is kind of weird in that. For grass, I'm gonna select lawn because again, there isn't any sound code with G. I'm pressing G right now. There isn't any sound code with a G, so it's lawn. And then you can press file, save, and there we go. Make sure you exit as well because yeah, why would you not exit? And then you can pretty much delete the OBJ and MTL files. MTL file wasn't even necessary from the start, but there you go. You now have KCL and PA files. The PA file is for the sounds. I guess it is. I mean, I deleted the PA file once, and the sounds were just gone. So I guess the PA file is for sounds, and the KCL is actually for the, you know, the map, the collision map that we just created. This, not that, this. But yeah, now that you have your KCL and PA files, you can just pretty much go here and then go there, and I don't know, wherever you have your map. So you just do like this, tutorial, and then you put those in. Make sure you rename those, because if you don't, then, well, the collision is not going to work. And then you can put in your BDL file, which is the actual model and not collision. Then you can go and drag this onto arc pack, and then an arc, and then you're gonna drag the arc onto encode stuff on this one. What this program does is basically take the normal arc, and then it encodes it so that the size of the file becomes smaller. But yeah, that's pretty much it for how to make collision. It's actually really easy. Making collision is, I mean, I fucking hate collision because it's extremely tedious for, well, for some of my models, but it is really easy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching this little tutorial, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.